In the Unresolved Problems segment tonight, the far left's war against free speech. Last week, the University of California-Berkeley descended into violent chaos ahead of a speech by Breitbart editor Milo Yiannopoulos. The riot caused more than $100,000 in damage and forced the speech's cancellation. Despite that, UC-Berkeley student newspaper has now published 5 essays actually praising the violence and opposing Yiannopoulos' right to speak. Joining us now to analyze from Washington, from the National Center for Public Policy Research, Horace Cooper, along with Jamila Bey, a radio talk show host. Now, Jamila, I'll start with you. We all know about the right of free speech, but in the Constitution, it's talked about as a peaceable protest. In other words, peaceful protests are protected, not violent protests.
Absolutely. And frankly, these young students at Berkeley, who are among the smartest in the world, put themselves on the line in defense of their fellow students. One of the highest things that we hope our people do in battle, and they're doing it already at school, to say we do not accept the violence that Milo, I'm sorry I mispronounced his name, brings to the people he chooses to out, bringing out their names, people who...
Jamila, we agree, we agree on the right to protest the speech, right, but we disagree on the part where the violence was actually, I don't know, held on a pedestal by UC-Berkeley. 5 op-eds published praising the violent part of it.
Well, these students are young people, and I'm sure that they may even change their minds, but the arguments they made were sound. And what they said was...
I'm going to bring Horace in. I don't need to keep cutting you off, but how can you say it's a sound argument when the Constitution clearly protects free speech, but not violent free speech? Horace,
okay.
I want to bring Horace in. Go ahead, Horace.
Here's the thing. These arguments weren't about being sound. These arguments were about justifying violence. If 5 people go to a Woolworths restaurant to peaceably demonstrate that they believe they should have the right to be there, the rhetoric that was demonstrated in these op-eds and the behavior that we saw at Berkeley means that it would have been okay for masked intruders to go to the Woolworths and beat the hell out of them because they don't agree with what they're standing for. The First Amendment's purpose is for us to have a civil disagreement, to bring the strong argument, not violence. This was a terrible example, and if they're this bright, then this is dangerous, a sign of where we're headed.
And Jamila, you know, UC-Berkeley claims to be the birthplace of free speech. Let's talk about the free speech on Milo's part. He wasn't allowed to speak.
He wasn't allowed to get up and read a list of illegals. He wasn't allowed to get up and give information that was going to be able to make it so that those who would do harm to such students could find them, could find their professors, could find their family and friends. That's what these students were protesting.
So let me just repeat your words. Let me just repeat your words. He wasn't allowed to read a list, or give information. He wasn't allowed to do that, yet the protesters were allowed to be riotous and violent, Horace.
Yeah, this is an argument that somehow something someone is going to say gives me a heckler's veto, not just to interject myself, but to burn the place down, to threaten and assault and attack people. What if this had been a gay pride event on the campus and some individuals decided to put masks on and they were going to shut this down because they didn't agree and they were going to do it with violence?
Well, that certainly would have happened at Berkeley.
This is unacceptable.
What is unacceptable is that Milo has made millions of dollars on going and bringing violence and bringing terror to individuals he doesn't like. We know that he went on a college campus and outed.
If that were true,
that is absolutely true. Milo had a $250,000
he would be indicted. He has not injured one person. He has not engaged in a violent act against one person.
You're wrong. You are absolutely wrong. Milo got kicked off of Twitter because he called his
guys, hold on. But clarify, Jamila, what violence did Milo himself perpetrate?
Milo himself did not throw a brick or hurl a slur. Milo said, hey, everyone, if you want to get it,
Jamila, that's speech. That may be disgusting speech to some people, but it is still protected speech.
That's That's not protected on a college campus. Berkeley has the right.
Protected in America.
Berkeley students have the right to say no. We are
This
standing up
behavior
for the
says
least
to
among
Rosa
us.
Guys, one at a
We are
time. I'm sorry.
standing up for
Behavior
those
says to
who
Rosa
do not
Parks,
have the
we
voice.
will throw a brick at you.
All right, well, I'm going to leave it right here. Jamil, I'll give you 20 seconds. Go, finish this up.
These students did what they learned in class. They stood up together. They spoke out together.
that's a shame.
Police showed up, and you know, it's
They
better
learned,
than if
they learned to create a $100,000 in damage with broken windows, throwing fireworks at police, and smoke bombs. This is what they're learning at UC-Berkeley. I thank God my son goes to Colorado. I got to leave it right here. Horace,
every student has the right to speak up, and I commend Berkeley students.
And we agree with speech. We just don't agree with the violence. Horace, Jamil, thank you.